Hello, everybody. This is The Home in the World by Rabindranath Tagore. Chapter 7, Sandip's Story, Part 10. When I next saw Bimala, I pitched my key high without further ado. Have we been able, I began, to believe with all our heart in the God for whose worship we have been born all these millions of years, until he actually made himself visible to us? How often have I told you, I continued, that had I not seen you, I never would have known all the country as one. I know not yet whether you rightly understand me. The gods are invisible only in their heaven. On earth they show themselves to mortal men. Bimala looked at me in a strange kind of way as she gravely replied, Indeed, I understand you, Sandip. This was the first time she called me plain Sandip. Krishna, I continued, whom Arjuna ordinarily knew only as the driver of his chariot, had also his universal aspect, of which, too, Arjuna had a vision one day, and that day he saw the truth. I've seen your universal aspect in my country. The Ganges and the Brahmaputra are the chains of gold that wind round and round your neck. In the woodland fringes on the distant banks of the dark waters of the river, I've seen your collyrium darkened eyelashes. The changeful sheen of your sari moves for me in the play of light and shade amongst the swaying shoots of green corn, and the blazing summer heat, which makes the whole sky lie gasping like a red-tongued lion in the desert, is nothing but your cruel radiance. Since the goddess has vouchsafed her presence to her votary in such wonderful guise, it's for me to proclaim her worship throughout the land, and then shall the country gain new life. Your image make we in temple after temple. But this our people have not yet fully realized, so I would call on them in your name and offer for their worship an image from which none shall be able to withhold belief. Give me this boon, this power. Bimala's eyelids drooped, and she became rigid in her seat like a figure of stone. Had I continued, she would have gone off into a trance. When I ceased speaking, she opened her wide eyes and murmured with fixed gaze as though still dazed, O traveler in the path of destruction, who is there that can stay your progress? Do I not see that none shall stand in the way of your desires? Kings shall lay their crowns at your feet. The wealthy shall hasten to throw open their treasure for your acceptance. Those who have nothing else shall beg to be allowed to offer their lives. O my king, my God! What you've seen in me I know not, but I've seen the immensity of grandeur in my heart. Who am I? What am I in its presence? The awful power of devastation. Never shall I truly live till it kills me utterly. I can break it no longer. My heart's breaking. Bimala slid down from her seat and fell at my feet, which she clasped and then sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. This is hypnotism indeed, no charm which can subdue the world. No materials, no weapons, but just the delusion of irresistible suggestion. Who says truth shall triumph? Delusion shall win in the end. The Bengali understood this when he conceived the image of the 10-handed goddess astride her lion and spread her worship in the land. Bengal must now create a new image to enchant and conquer the world. Vande Mataram. I gently lifted Bimala back into her chair, and lest reaction should set in, I began again without losing time. Queen, the Divine Mother's laid on me the duty of establishing her worship in the land. But alas, I'm poor. Bimala was still flushed, her eyes clouded, her accents thick as she replied, You poor? Is not all that each one has yours? What are my caskets full of jewelry for? Drag away from me all my gold and gems for your worship. I've no use for them. Once more, Bimala had offered her own ornaments. I'm not usually in the habit of drawing lines, but I felt I had to draw the line here. I know why I feel this hesitation. It's for man to give ornaments to woman. To take them from her wombs is manliness. But I must forget myself. Am I taking them? They are for the Divine Mother to be poured in worship at her feet, but it must be a grand ceremony of worship such as the country has never beheld before. It must be a landmark in our history. It shall be my supreme legacy to the nation. Ignorant men worship gods. I, Sandip, shall create them. But all this is a far cry. What about the urgent immediate? At least 3,000 is indispensably necessary. 5,000 would do roundly and nicely, but how on earth am I to mention money after the high flight we've just taken? Yet time is precious. I crushed all hesitation underfoot as I jumped up and made my plunge. Queen, our purse is empty, our work about to stop. Bimala winced. I could see she was thinking of the impossible 50,000 rubies. What a load she must have been carrying within her bosom, struggling under it, perhaps through sleepless nights. What else had she with which to express her loving worship? Debarred from offering her heart at my feet, she hankers to make this sum of money, so hopelessly large for her, the bearer of her imprisoned feelings. The thought of what she must have gone through gives me a twinge of pain, for she is now wholly mine. The wrench of plucking up the plant by the roots is over. It is now only careful tending and nurture that is needed. Queen, said I, that 50,000 rubies is not particularly wanted just now. I calculate that, for the present, 5,000, or even 3, will serve. The relief made her heart rebound. I shall fetch you 5,000, she said in tones which seemed like an outburst of song, the song for which Radhika of the Vaishnava lyrics sang. For my lover I'll bind in my hair the flowers which has no equal in the 3 worlds. It's the same tune, the same song. 5,000 will I bring, that flower will I bind in my hair. The narrow restraint of the flute brings out this quality of song. I must not allow the pressure of too much greed to flatten out the reed, for as I fear, music will give place to the question why. What's the use of so much? How am I to get it? Not a word of which will rhyme with what Radhika sang. So, as I was saying, illusion alone is real. It is the flute itself, while truth is but its empty hollow. Nikhil, as of late, got a taste of that pure emptiness. One can see it in his face, which pains even me. But it was Nikhil's boast that he wanted the truth, while mine was that I would never let illusion go from my grasp. Each has been suited to his taste, so why complain? To keep Bimala's heart in the rarefied air of idealism, I cut short all further discussion over the 5,000 rupees. I reverted to the demon-destroying goddess and her worship. When was the ceremony to be held, and where? There's a great annual fair in Ruimari, within Nikhil's estate, where hundreds of thousands of pilgrims assemble. That would be a grand place to inaugurate the worship of our goddess. Bimala waxed intensely enthusiastic. This was not the burning of foreign cloth or the people's granaries, so even Nikhil could have no objection, so thought she. But I smiled inwardly. How little these 2 persons who have been together day and night for 9 whole years know of each other. They know something, perhaps, of their home life, but when it comes to outside concerns, they are entirely at sea. They had cherished the belief that the harmony of the home was perfect. Today they realize to their cost that it's too late to repair their neglect of years, and seek to harmonize them now. What does it matter? Let those who have made their mistake learn their error by knocking against the world. Why need I bother about their plight? For the present I find it wearisome to keep Bimala soaring much longer, like a captive balloon in regions ethereal. I'd better get quite through with the matter at hand. When Bimala rose to depart and had neared the door, I remarked in my most casual manner, "So about the money?" Bimala halted and faced back as she said, "On the expiry of the month, when our personal allowances have become due, that, I'm afraid, would be much too late." "When do you want it, then?" "Tomorrow." "Tomorrow you shall have it."